Hello ladies, gentlemen, and persons in between. My name is Tim Snowborn and welcome to Further Adventures in London on this episode of Not So Serious Issues. Sorry this didn't get released on Saturday. I know I said that I was going to release the second half the next day, but I got home pretty late Friday night and forgot to upload the video. And then Saturday I just plain forgot, and then it became, well, fuck it, I'll just release it next Friday. I won't even have to shoot a video for next week. I'll just release the other half of the London thing. I know it's kind of lazy, but here we are. So, last time we saw a bunch of very nice architecture and some statues of different historical figures. Some places and people whose names I probably did not recall. And today we're going to see more of that. So enjoy. This I took because, again, it's a beautiful centuries old building that now has a Starbucks in it. I thought that was kind of funny and ironic. You might think this is the famous London Bridge, but you'd be wrong. This is actually called the Tower Bridge. People get them confused. This is the London Bridge. The London Bridge is almost 2,000 years old. The whole London Bridge's falling down bit comes from back when it was first made, and it wasn't very sturdy, and it crumbled and fell a lot. Shot of the ship and the bridge. This church, I want to say it was the oldest church in England. The sign there by the door said that it was built in 675 or maybe 975, some triple-digit number. So, very old church. This pub, called the Old Cheshire Cheese, is famous because a lot of historical figures drank there. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle drank there, Alfred Lord Tennyson drank there, Mark Twain drank there when he visited, one of the Roosevelt presidents drank there, I think it was Teddy Roosevelt, and of course I drank there. The sign actually says Ye Old Cheshire Cheese, but one thing I learned is that all these signs that you've seen that start with ye, blah, 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 that's actually supposed to be the. Apparently, at some point, the TH sound was spelled with a character that looks like a Y. It's just a coincidence that the spelling looks like the Old English word for you. Over time, people associated the old spelling of the with the old word for you and just started calling it ye. But it's really supposed to be the Old Cheshire Cheese. This church, I went on a ghost tour. The guide showed me different haunted places around town. And in England, at least, and I don't know if this was common in other European countries, but in England, they would bury people in the church. There were tombs and graves in the floors and the walls of the church. And this one tomb, there was a motion sensor near the tomb that kept going off. They decided that it must be a faulty sensor, so they switched it out and put another one there, but the new sensor kept getting tripped. Finally, they just took away the sensor from near that tomb. The tour guide didn't say anything about this. I just thought that it looked really cool, like something out of Lord of the Rings and the Renaissance Festival. This is, I'm sure, someone's house. You all know the story here. That's where he's buried. Yep. If there's any Sherlock fans in the audience, this is where Season 2 ended. People have actually written things to Benedict Cumberbatch on this wall below that corner here because the rumor is that he comes around and reads them every once in a while. And more. This is a symbol of the Great Fire. Again, I don't know why a baby symbolizes the Great Fire. There's a bit down there about blaming the fire on the sin of gluttony. I don't know why a baby would symbolize gluttony, but whatever. See the sign there? Don't remember what this building was, I just like that arch. And there's another shot of it. I made a point of walking around town at night because a lot of stuff just looks a lot better at night, including this place. Oliver Cromwell, Lord Protector of England and his wards, born in 1599, he died in 1658 September. Yeah, I love that. I took this just because I love that Monty Python song. Parliament at night. Big Ben's probably lit up more than usual. Random carousel. Skate park. Tree lights. Don't know what bridge this was, but it looked neat. Same pagoda at night. I took a lot of pictures of the Tower Bridge. It just looks a lot better at night. I couldn't believe I saw this. It's one of those motorized unicycle things. I've always considered these things pretty douchey. I was very surprised to see one in England, let alone zipping across the Tower Bridge. This one looks like a transformer or a crane of some kind. That floating war museum again. Anyone see why I picked this one? Look around. Where is it? Where is he? He's right there. Yeah. Yeah, apparently the Madame Tussauds in London has a wax statue of Donald Trump. I don't know. I didn't go and see it, but yeah, it's hard to imagine that, but they do. This is the road leading up to Highgate Cemetery, which you'll see later. I call this the Georgia O'Keeffe tree. This one was hollow, at least on the bottom. Thought that was cool. This might have been the Canadian Embassy. I know I saw the Canadian Embassy while I was there. This, I'm not sure. I mean, I want to say, I think this was to honor the Merchant Marine or maybe the British Navy, but I mainly took it because it had these rotating spikes around there. I don't know what those are for. If anyone knows what these rotating spikes are for, tell me in the comments section. Probably to keep people from getting in or out, maybe. Again, another picture of the Tower Bridge. Check out the moves on this guy. I think it's a guy. Might be a woman. It's hard to tell. This is a portion of the original wall that used to surround the city of London. That wall is, again, almost 2,000 years old. At least the base of it is. The upper portion was actually more recent, although still centuries old. I wasn't even sure if the Tower Bridge could raise like this, but there it is. That ship is going backwards, by the way. There it is, closing. I think this might have been the prostitutes' church because I took the Jack the Ripper tour and the guide talked about a church where the prostitutes would come for sanctuary. There was a law back in the day that you couldn't be arrested while you were at church, so sometimes the prostitutes would just scurry into a church if they saw a cop. I think this was one. Too many pictures of the Tower Bridge. I took this one because when my sister and I were kids, we were walking through Brainerd, Minnesota, and I said, "Hey, look, a camouflage truck." And my sister was like, "Where?" And then we both had a good laugh because we thought that was terribly funny. There's a homeless guy with a big old St. Bernard and an accordion. A row of bike taxis there. This is in one of the gift shops. I decided I had to have some traditional British cuisine, so the last night that I was there, I met up with my British friend and he took me to a place where I can get some bangers and mash. That's apparently what bangers and mash is. It's just 3 sausages and gravy on mashed potatoes. I don't know if the peas are a traditional part of the meal. I know I didn't eat them because they've been my nemesis since I was 5. This thing was putting on a little show in Piccadilly Circus, I think it was. Bells ringing, characters moving around. It's cool. As I said, I stayed in an area called Elephant and Castle. There were a number of places that were named 2 things in London. There were a number of places named blank and blank. There was Elephant and Castle. I saw a pub named Pig and Goose, Flint and Steel, Cheese and Crackers, Ren and Stimpy, Martin and Lewis, Simon and Simon. I don't know what it is with places named two different things. There were also a few places where like the name of a town was a whole phrase. My tour of the Cotswolds started in a place called Morton in the Marsh. That was the name of the town. So 4 words. It's kind of weird. And then, of course, I had to have some crumpets. Now I know what a crumpet is. I thought it was more of a pastry, but apparently it's just like an English muffin. This was on the way back after I met up with my British friend and we were heading home. I saw this place. It's a garden or something up. This is vertical. This is up the side of a building. I'd never seen a vertical garden like this. I mean, I doubt that this gets mowed ever, but it was really neat to see. This is at Heathrow Airport on the way back. This is the last meal I ate in London. It's a proper English breakfast there, and it was pretty good. I liked it. Again, in Heathrow Airport, this is a really cool sculpture. I like that it looks like it's 3D printed or drawn with a 3D pen. You know, they got those things that you can draw in midair now. Yeah, it was really cool. I like this. And a view from the back. It looks like someone drew this on the picture, doesn't it? All right, that's going to be all for now. I do have other photo albums from the trip, but this episode has already gone on pretty long, so we'll see those later. A couple of stories I want to tell that I didn't really have any pictures for. Did you know that John Snow was the name of the doctor who figured out that cholera was spread by the sewage leaking into the water supply? There's a pub named after him in London. I didn't go to see the pub because I decided it wasn't worth the trip just to have a picture of a place named John Snow. But still, I don't know that George R.R. Martin named that character after the actual doctor. I'm not sure why he would, but anyway, there's a place named John Snow there. Also, the first tour that I took started in a place called Covent Gardens, and the interesting thing about that was that area, I mean, it was meant to be the entertainment capital, sort of the cultural center of the city at the time, but it attracted a lot of prostitutes. And that guide said that prostitution has never been illegal in England. A later guide said that it is, but she said that prostitution wasn't illegal, but solicitation was. So she showed us a copy of this book. It was basically like a phone book for prostitutes. It was a guide to all the women who worked in that area, and it gave you their names, their measurements, and what they specialized in, and how much they would charge you, and all this information. And she said that that guidebook outsold the Bible at one time. Sold over 250,000 copies. So I thought that was really interesting. Anyway, perhaps we'll do more from London at another time, but for now, that's all. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you've ever been to London, anything that you noticed in my pictures that you know more about than I told. Because again, there's a lot of buildings and people that I couldn't remember. If you've been to London, tell me your favorite thing about it. I also took a couple of day trips to the Cotswolds and Stonehenge and Bath. You'll see those later on. But for now, thank you very much for watching this video. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. It's great to have you here. I hope that you will subscribe and join me for future conversations and check out my previous videos for more. If you're a current subscriber, thank you very much for tuning in again. It's great to have your continued support. I really appreciate it, guys. Until next time, take care, everyone.